Hong Kong to ban possession of alternative smoking products in public places. Donald Trump threatens Iran again, while the Iranian president sends an open letter to the American public. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Starting April 30th, Hong Kong residents are no longer allowed to possess alternative smoking products in public spaces, including e-cigarettes and cartridges or heat sticks. Penalties are tiered according to the quantity found, starting at a minimum fine of $3,000. Samantha Lee reports.
The Hong Kong government is tightening smoking control. Possessing an alternative smoking product in public spaces will be a criminal offense starting April 30th. This means regardless of whether a person is actually consuming them, simply having them in one's pocket is illegal. Fines will be scaled according to the quantity possessed. Possession of fewer than 5 capsules, 5 milliliters of substance, or 100 sticks of heated or herbal tobacco carries a fixed penalty of $3,000. Failure to show an ID card or obstructing enforcement can lead to a maximum fine of $10,000. Larger quantities carry a $50,000 fine and 6 months in prison. But can authorities take action if someone is using them at home? Grace Wong, Senior Medical and Health Officer at the Department of Health, said homes are private premises where the ban does not cover at this stage. So what do residents think? This vapor said, "I vape because some of my friends find the smell of traditional cigarettes unpleasant." While this man is not a fan of vaping, he believes the government should not strip away people's rights to vape. The ban on possessing alternative smoking products in public spaces is just one of the government's tobacco control measures. A paper submitted to the Legislative Council today provides the plain packaging requirement on conventional smoking products. The standardized cigarette packaging will take effect on December 1st next year. That means all tobacco packages, including their brands and product names, will have to be uniformly designed so as to dampen the promotional effect. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The Independent Committee's public hearing on the deadly blaze at Wenful Court in Tai Po continued today. At the hearing, a property officer from the management company denied having knowledge that a key fire safety system was disabled.
The 8th public hearing took place today at the Central Gallery. Taking a stand was property officer at ISS East Point Property Management, Cheng Chi-Ying. She said she had no recollection of a phone call with Chung Kit-man, director of Victory Fire Engineering, who had earlier testified that he contacted her in October over whether a fire services shutdown notice had been issued for water tank works and requested documentation once the system was restored. Chang told the inquiry that she did not remember details of the discussion and it's unlikely that she and Chung touched on the fire services water tank works. Chang also denied that staff from the contractor had informed her that fire pumps had been switched off or that any notice of suspension of fire systems had been raised. On building alterations, Chang acknowledged the potential risks as part of the rear stairwell windows were converted into emergency exits, but they trusted the professional advice from project consultant Willpower Engineering, so they did not follow up on it. On the light well believed to be the fire's point of origin, Chang said cleaning should have been handled by the contractor, Prestige Construction and Engineering, though there was not a lot of trash. Chang added that she had not personally seen allegations of the large numbers of authorized ballots at 2 owners' meetings. She said while the management office would verify flat numbers and owners' names on the votes, there were no protocols to confirm signatures, nor would staff contact owners to confirm authorization unless information was incomplete.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday night delivered an update on Operation Epic Fury carried out alongside Israel against Iran, in which he maintained their key goals are close to being achieved. Danny Zhou has the story.
Donald Trump justified the military campaign in his first national address after the Iran war began on February the 28th by elaborating on its necessity to the safety of the United States and the world. He pointed to Iran and its proxy groups' decades-old attacks and said the country's military, navy, air force and missile systems have now been decimated, adding the U.S.'s strategic aims are nearing completion.
Our armed forces have been extraordinary. There's never been anything like it militarily. Everyone is talking about it, and tonight I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion.
Trump told the nation that their joint cooperation prevents Iran from developing nuclear weapons and warned of intensified strikes that would push the Islamic Republic back to the Stone Age. He said the nuclear sites that they obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust, and the US will have it under intense satellite surveillance and control. On the Strait of Hormuz, Trump didn't mention negotiations with Iran about the April 6th deadline to reopen the strait. Instead, he encouraged countries that obtain oil through the critical waterway to go take it.
Go to the strait and just take it, protect it, use it for yourselves. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done, so it should be easy.
In Beijing, the foreign ministry emphasized the root cause of the strait's disrupted navigation lies in the illegal military actions taken by the US and Israel against Iran. A spokesperson said only by ceasing hostilities and achieving peace and stability in the Gulf region can the safe and unimpeded flow of the international shipping route be fundamentally safeguarded. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
While Donald Trump threatens to hit Iran hard, the Islamic Republic's President Masoud Pezeshkian issued a letter to the American people, asking them whether their government was really acting in their best interests. Tracy Furness reports.
Airstrikes continued to hit Tehran, followed by plumes of smoke rising above buildings in Iran's capital. Down on the streets, bombed-out buildings are common, with debris clogging paths and roads. Iran's Red Crescent work amid this chaos as crews search through the wreckage of heavily damaged buildings and scattered debris outside. Rescue workers were seen carrying an injured person on a stretcher, while others were treated at the scene. The strike comes as Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson said US President Donald Trump's claims Iran's president wanted a ceasefire were false and baseless. Meanwhile, thousands of mourners gathered around a truck displaying the casket of Commodore Ali Reza Tangsiri, the head of the Revolutionary Guards Navy, during his funeral procession in Tehran Wednesday. The crowds were chanting, "God is the greatest," and "Death to Israel." Security was tight with military personnel and vehicles nearby. Some mourners holding up placards reading, "Down with US," and "Trump is a child killer. This mourner said, "We are losing our loved ones, our commander, our leader, but every person in this country are, so to speak, commanders who, God willing, we take the place of the dear commanders and we take our revenge." Meanwhile, Israeli military spokesperson Brigadier General Efi Defrin warned Wednesday that Iran and Hezbollah may continue firing missiles at Israel during the Passover holiday in an attempt to harm Israeli civilians. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
A recent U.S. poll shows more than 60% of respondents oppose U.S. military action against Iran. A CNN poll last week surveyed approximately 1,200 Americans. Only 34% of respondents supported a U.S. strike against Iran, a drop of 7% from the start of the conflict. The disapproval rate rose to 66%. Satisfaction with President Trump's overall performance fell to 35%, a slight decrease of 1 percentage point from February. A Reuters poll also showed that 60% of respondents opposed an attack on Iran, while 35% supported it. And still ahead, NASA launches Artemis 2, sending humans back towards the moon. Nanjing protects its historical features with high-tech gadgets. And hundreds of thousands of CLP customers to receive shopping coupons from the power company. Welcome back. 4 astronauts embarked on a high-stakes flight around the moon Wednesday, marking humanity's first lunar voyage in more than half a century. Carrying 3 Americans and 1 Canadian, the 32-story rocket rose from NASA's Kennedy Space Center, where tens of thousands gathered to witness the dawn of a new era. Tracy Furness has more.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff.
The 32-story moon rocket blasted off from the Florida Kennedy Space Center Wednesday evening, carrying the 4 astronauts. Spectators at Spaceview Park in Titusville cheered as the rocket lifted off. This resident from Daytona Beach, Florida, said she arrived early at the park.
I got here around 7 a.m. I woke up around 4, got ready, and came down here. I did not expect the parking lot out here to be full already, and the parking lots nearby to be full. I'm like parked like a mile down that way. I did not expect that. So it's great to see so many people, though.
It's been a dream of mine to watch a launch. You know, I was grew up during the Apollo era. Remember watching the landing on TV. So yeah, it's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
During a post-launch briefing, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman gave updates.
Now, about 51 minutes into the flight, during a planned handover between satellites, the Orion spacecraft underwent a communications issue, leading to a temporary partial loss of comms. The uplink from Capcom to the crew was being heard by the crew, but we cannot hear the responses for a brief period of time. There were no issues with the vehicle itself. Comms with the crew have been restored.
Meanwhile, watch parties took place not only in Florida but other states, like here in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania.
We are like Elkins Park Sky Watchers, so we are part of the NASA Night Sky Network. Our work is to communicate, to educate the community in terms of astronomy and education. So the NASA Night Sky Network sends us resources to teach the community about the space exploration and to show that there's something beyond that.
The Artemis 2 crew will spend a day in orbit around the Earth, checking their capsule before firing the main engine that will propel them to the moon. The nearly 10-day mission will see them fly around the moon and set a distance record before coming back home. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
A magnitude 7.4 earthquake that struck off Indonesian waters set off tsunami waves this morning, killing at least 1 person. The country's meteorological agency has lifted the tsunami warning hours after the quake. The tremor was centered in the Molucca Sea at the depth of 35 kilometers, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The epicenter was about 120 kilometers from the city of Ternate in North Maluku province, where initial assessments showed light to moderate damage. Within half an hour of the quake, tsunami waves were recorded at multiple monitoring stations, including in West Halmahera with a height of 30 centimeters. Authorities reported a 70-year-old woman was killed when a building collapsed in Manado, North Sulawesi province, and another resident was injured. Nanjing is a mainland city of rich historical significance, and now technology is being used to ensure the classical features are protected and preserved. Celine Chan reports from Nanjing.
Shimmering timeless landmarks cast long dancing shadows on the tranquil river. The Qinghai River has long been a muse for poets and still captivates visitors from different places of its timeless beauty. Ms. Zhu traveled to Yangzhou all the way from Zhejiang. She said putting on a traditional Chinese dress, or qipao, while touring around a historic city like Nanjing gives her the immersive experience of being part of the legendary 13 beauties of Jingling, the ancient name for Nanjing.
Nanjing was once the capital of 6 dynasties. It ranks as one of 4 great ancient capitals, together with Xi'an, Luoyang, and Beijing.
Board a scenic boat and visitors can admire the scenic Qinghai stretch, which includes the Fuzi Temple, the Jiangnan Imperial Examination Hall, and residences of historical figures. Last year, Nanjing welcomed over 200 million tourists, with 80 million flocking to the Qinghai district alone. The Zhonghua Gate, situated along the city's moat, is the world's best preserved and most complex stick and stone built castle gate. In order to balance tourism with conservation, authorities have not only capped the number of visitors allowed to top the gate, but also introduced an AI-powered monitoring and early warning system. Over 200 automated sensors have been installed along the city walls. Zhang Mengwei from the Nanjing City Wall Protection and Management Center said the system can detect slight and minor structural changes real-time and issue an alert, instantly notifying the management team of the exact location, which allows the team to take prompt action as part of their preventive conservation efforts. While Nanjing passed regulations to protect the city walls against damages, the management center has been promoting a philosophy of public participation in preservation for the past 2 years. Their goal is to foster a sense of proactive stewardship among the public. Celine Chan, TVB News, Nanjing.
A report published by the World Trade Organization shows Hong Kong ranked as the world's 5th largest trading entity in merchandise trade in 2025, 2 places up from the year before. In the report Global Trade Outlook and Statistics, the city's total merchandise trade logged a year-on-year increase of 17.5% to $1,585 billion, accounting for 3% of the world's total. That's ranked after China, the United States, Germany, and the Netherlands. Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development Eljinon Yao says, despite geopolitical challenges, Hong Kong's external trade remained resilient and achieved an encouraging result. Merchandise exports continued to show strong performance in early 2026. In February, the values of Hong Kong's total exports and imports of goods rose nearly 25% and 30% respectively. CLP Power will distribute $100 vouchers to some 600,000 eligible households in a bid to encourage energy conservation and boost consumer spending. Timothy Lee reports.
Residents who have been on an energy-saving streak, meaning those who consumed energy of 2,400 kilowatt-hours worth or less last year, are eligible for CLP Power's $100 vouchers. Former director of the observatory, Lam Chiu-ying, is well known for his energy conservation practices. Lam, who has a habit of not turning on his air conditioner even when the temperature reaches 30 degrees Celsius, had been a recipient of the CLP voucher for 5 consecutive years. Lam urged residents to reduce their use of air conditioners, adding that if they are necessary, they should be set to 27 degrees. He also noted that the community should try their best not to use hot water while showering. Eligible residents will receive 2 $50 vouchers that could be used for online shopping, as well as at designated restaurants and pharmacies. An estimated 600,000 households will benefit from the measure. The manager of a restaurant that participated in the scheme for the past 5 years said the company's voucher program helped boost business by around 10%. This year also marks the introduction of e-vouchers for the program. And the measure also pertains to elderly residents. Quince Chong, CLP Power's Chief Corporate Development Officer, said the company is aware that many elderly members of the community are still used to having physical vouchers, so the company will directly mail them the vouchers. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The sales ban of mini konjac jelly cups started yesterday, but TVB News found that the products were still available for purchase at a Shamshui Post shop. Following our news report, the Center for Food Safety says it had instructed the shop concerned to remove the goods from shelves and would prosecute the non-compliance. After the ban came into effect, konjac-containing jelly products coming in cups with heights and widths of under 45 millimeters cannot be sold in Hong Kong to avoid choking incidents. The government has filed an application with a court of first instance for forfeiture of the offense-related properties of former media tycoon Jimmy Lai. A court earlier convicted Lai of 3 charges of offenses endangering national security, noting Lai was using Apple Daily and his personal influence to carry out a campaign to undermine the legitimacy and authority of the central government and the Hong Kong government. The court sentenced Lai to 20 years imprisonment. A government spokesperson said a forfeiture order made for the purpose of safeguarding national security can prevent persons convicted of offenses endangering national security, their accomplices or agents from continuing to use their offense-related properties to engage in acts and activities endangering national security. Businessman Jason Poon was sentenced to a month in prison for having made abusive remarks against Labor Tribunal judicial officers. Poon was said to have called the officers rubbish on his YouTube channel and posted screenshots of trial transcripts on his Facebook page. He signed an undertaking which restricts the use of the transcripts for proceedings. Poon pleaded guilty to contempt of court. Apart from a 1-month prison term, the businessman has to shoulder the prosecution costs of more than $262,000. He was released on $50,000 cash bail after applying for a stay of execution of his sentence pending appeal, which was granted by the judge. To sports, Chinese motorcycle brand ZX Moto secured a historic double victory at the World Superbike Championship early in Portugal, making the first time a Chinese manufacturer has reached the top of the podium in one of the world's top motorbike racing series. French rider Valentin Debise won both races 1 and 2 in the World SSP category at the circuit in Portimao. The result has ignited widespread excitement across Chinese social media and in auto industry circles. ZX Moto's ascent to the podium shatters long-held perceptions that only established European and Japanese brands could win superbike races. Founder Zhang Xue said the winning moment carried profound personal and professional significance. He said the win should help raise morale for the entire supply chain as well as for other domestic manufacturers. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.